He may have been lost after Kyle's death, but the ring still found him. Here's your look at McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, the Red Platinum Edition Red Lantern, Guy Gardner. Guy took Atrocitus' Red Lantern ring and joined a new corps where he could channel his anger. He later returned to life as a Green Lantern. I don't know if that's plastic I'm smelling or is it napalm. Either way though, let's take the tape measure and see how tall the Red Lantern Guy Gardner stands, which essentially is going to be using the same body as the previous Green Lantern Guy Gardner we've already had a look at. With that in mind, of course, the figure is going to still stand the same. He's 7 inches in height, or the figure is going to be 18 centimeters tall. If you had hoped that they would have used a different mold, don't, because of course they're only going to use the same one as the Guy Gardner we've already gotten before. Same mold, different deco. I don't have Atrocitus, so he can't really be the one that gives the ring then to Guy Gardner, but I do have the closest thing that ends in Ossitus. Here's what the figure looks like with Batrocitus, the only Red Lantern I think I have in my collection with this mold. The accessories stay the same. The only thing that's going to be done differently a little bit is the paint scheme that they've done, of course, to his face sculpts, and that instead of having a Green Lantern, he has a red one instead. Before we look at these things over here, we'll look at this thing over here. The figure first does come included with a display stand. Just to bring in, though, Guy Gardner's display stand, because, again, he was also McFarlane Collector's Edition. He had a silver logo down below in DC. This one also has it as well. It's exact same. The figure does also come included with a trading card. Now, the trading card is, though, using a different costume for Red Lantern Guy Gardner. This is something that changes a lot in the comics. Guy Gardner's actually had several different costume changes. I do hope that down the road we eventually get this version of Guy Gardner, even though really this one still is canon. In fact, DC Direct, years ago, released this same costume Guy Gardner when he was the Red Lantern, so at least it's not just the case that McFarlane Toys just painted over an existing mold, which again, in some sense that they did, but at least this costume is correct. Though it's different, though, on the front, what's also different, too, is that you've also got McFarlane Collector's Edition stamped, printed down the side. And on the back, it's probably one of the shortest read-ups I've ever done here on this channel. His real name is Guy Gardner. I mean, I could even just read this again. Guy took Atrocitus' Red Lantern ring and joined a new corps where he could channel his anger. He later returned to life as a Green Lantern. Boy, that didn't take any time at all. It's a nice-looking card. I'm going to be putting it along with the rest of my trading cards in my trading card sheets. On to now the things that come included with Guy Gardner. Yeah, more of the same. So the figure does have, first of all, a Red Lantern. Let's just grab Guy's from before. Same casting, different plastic that they're casting it in. What's interesting, though, is that with the Green Lantern, they've actually got it lit up, where the Red Lantern, unfortunately, doesn't have that. I don't know if I would go back and look at the comics again just to see if that is the case. Adding, though, just a little bit of paint, I think could have just given some lantern life. Still, as though the exact same. One thing that's kind of interesting, too, is that the lantern for the Green Lantern release of Guy Gardner seems a little gummier. Whereas the one that we get here, maybe it's just the type of plastic that they're using, the Red Lantern seems a little bit more rigid. Still, it can be held in his hand. Right now he does have a C-clamp hand on this side. He's got a close fist on the other. That can then be swapped out, though. The figure does also have a gestured hand. And he's got a pointing hand. Now, you'll know right away, you don't even have to follow the rule of thumb. The side that has the lantern ring will be, of course, on this side of the figure's body. Everything that doesn't have one will go on this side. So he's got a pointing hand. He's also got himself a gripping hand. So realistically, you could have a gripping hand on both his sides, and then you could just decide which side you'd like to have him holding the lantern. By the way, though, the lantern does fit in his hand. These lanterns never really sit straight. Every time I feel like I'm putting one into his hand, whether it be Guy or not, you put it in, for example. I put it in, and I'm struggling why I'm doing this. And it always just kind of, it never really sits centered. You kind of have to just balance it just a bit. But you can see, like, he holds it fine. Other things, though, that come include with Guy Gardner. Now, what's rather interesting, though, is he only has one hair portrait. Wait, a hair portrait? Well, if you remember, though, when we had a look at the other Guy Gardner, unless I missed something inside the tray, this one only has the brush cut. This one also had the bowl cut, but could, though, be swapped out. Basically, just pull this piece off. Pull this piece off. Maybe it'll be easier to do it on this side. Pull it off. And you could, in theory, swap it back to the way it looked when you got it first out of the packaging. I actually like this look a little bit more, especially considering that this one only has this hairstyle. I'll probably will end up displaying the Green Lantern with this hair, and then the Red Lantern is going to have this one. So let's just peel that off. By the way, these just plug in place. I mean, too, being that they're also using the exact same mold, it'd be safe to also make the assumption that you could just peel that off and give him the bowl hairstyle. Well, the bowl hairstyle would be over there. All the faces and all the hairs being that, again, same head, same swappability, too. This figure does also have a couple of swappable faces. Now, with the faces that he gets, if you're looking at the one, well, let's find like for like here. Like for like. So we got a regular Guy Gardner face that would have had the eyes. Yeah, see, he's got the smirk. And then we've got the Red Lantern version of that. His skin is a little lighter, a little more purple in color. But most notably is he also has the red outlined white eyes. Would they be white? I guess they're a little bit closer to being pink. Same faces. And let's grab the other one here. And then you've also got these two same faces. So they're exactly the same. Kind of interesting, though, is when you look at the head that they end up packaging the figure with, it's kind of the yelling face, yet when you start to add these monstrous things on him, like all the like red that's dripping out of his mouth, I don't suspect it's blood. It's probably just rage. Just rage. Somehow, though, you take something that seems more jovial, like he's just cracking jokes, and now it looks like he wants to rip out your soul. Of course, if you did want to change out the faces, you just go ahead and pry the face off. Take the face that you want to use. So let's just grab this one here for right now. That just plugs in place. I did notice, though, that the faces seem like they're looser to stay on. I mean, they still stay fine, but I feel like if I bang this, I'm not going to do it right now just in case I drop the face, but I feel like this comes off a lot easier. Again, if you want to go with that one, there's that. Where's the other one? Where's the other one? It's also this one too. The smirking adds a new element to his fear, just because, again, like you start to give him a smirk, and then you realize there's something not quite right with him, which I guess would be normally the territory we cover with Guy Gardner. It's not really always something right with this guy. I think overall, though, I think I'm going to be displaying this guy probably with the smirk, which I guess would be the face that I have right now. I think this is just a little too monstrous. Entirely up to you, though. Obviously, for the rest of the figure's body, they're going to be exactly the same. So he has that high collar jacket on. The jacket did seem like it's a little harder of a plastic than the original Guy Gardner. I felt, well, maybe they're about the same. Maybe they are about the same. Yet, while they're all clearly using just the same mold, they have at least gone in there and painted it differently. Some in the comics, though, sometimes when you see in the comics, this would actually be just on fire. Like you'd have these flames coming out from this symbol section here. Unfortunately, they wouldn't be able to pull that off. So what they've done only instead is just painted the lines in. You've got the Red Lantern symbol then in the middle, which is, again, a little bit different than the Green Lantern symbol. And it's also a little bit larger, too. I couldn't help but notice, though, it's not a perfect circle. It seems like it's a little more of an oval shape. It seems like it's even more stretched. But I think the paint's okay. I mean, the paint's pretty close to what they've done here for the legs, while the legs, though, being molded in the red plastic, they matched it somewhat okay. I think it's pretty close. Got some symbols there on the side as well. They're a little bit darker in red. I wish they were just as bright as they were on the front of his torso. He also has some decent paint handled here on the back and along his belt there as well. Now, somewhere that really, I mean, look at a figure like this and think to themselves, well, I already have really a Guy Gardner. Do I really need to get my hands on a Red Lantern? It really depends how much you like the lore. If you like Red Lanterns, I think Guy Gardner is a good suitable choice for that. Being, again, that he's also a McFarlane Collector's Edition means that he also gets a few extra faces there, too. So it's not just the case that you're buying. I mean, I guess, too, you could also use the face, one of the more creepier looking faces, or you can even just use a regular human face, like from Guy from before. The articulation on this guy obviously is going to be the exact same, too. Head's going to be on a ball joint. Allows the head to, of course, rotate all the way around. This makes a little bit more sense, the fact that he's now a Red Lantern. And, of course, you can rotate that. You can move the head up and down, and you can also rock it back and forth. Upper torso is going to be on a good ball joint. This whole section is all hard. I said softer plastic. It's a little softer than your like hard plastic for the arms. But there's enough, though, obviously, give. You can rotate the torso all the way around. As for his arms, they rotate easily enough. You can bring those arms out at T-pose, 90-degree angle bend for those. You can also swivel at the elbow, or swivel at the elbow, swivel at the bicep right there. This arm I didn't notice as loose. This arm, I don't know why, is super loose. It's not going to cause any problems, really. It's not like he has to hold himself up a bag of flour, but it's a little loose in the bicep. Double hinge on the elbow. Doesn't seem to be loose there. Swivel in the hands. Those rotate all the way around. Hinge them back and forth. As for his legs, the legs, once again, are on ratcheted joints. They split out. Very far splits. Just put them down here for a second. Guy Gardner also had that before. Why do we keep doing this? Torturing the poor guy. The legs go, obviously, forward. You can bring them back, too. There's a nice swivel there at the top of the thigh. Double hinge on the knee. His boot actually doesn't have any swiveling. Now that I think about it, though, actually, I don't think the original Guy Gardner had that either. No, just that they've painted the boots, probably molded the calf as one piece from here to here, and then gone in there and painted the boots. Same thing here with the Red Lantern. There's no swiveling there. There is some nice additional decos on the fronts of the boots, and also there on the front, on the tops of his feet as well. His feet do move up and down. There's a nice little ankle rocker. And Guy Gardner, like before, does have pegals, or does have hinges, I should say, on the ends of his toes. Yeah, I like the look of this Guy Gardner. I mean, obviously, in the end, it's just the same Guy Gardner, just with a different paint scheme. But being that he at least has this look in the comics, even though he's changed his costume a couple of times, and that, to even go back further from even before McFarlane had this license, at one point there was also a DC Direct that had this exact same costume. I think the only thing that was a little bit different is that the symbol, I think, was a little further to the side. But same look, same jacket, same bright kind of pinkish red pants. I like the look of this Guy Gardner. I'm kind of glad that I had the chance to pick him up, because up to that point, my Red Lanterns were really outnumbered. I had like Batroctus, I think that was probably the only Red Lantern figure that I had in my collection. I hope that does change. And what a better suitable character candidate for being a Red Lantern like Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner is also, as a Red Lantern, one of the only few that still maintained his intelligence. While most of the time they have been just filled with rage and had the ring consume them, Guy Gardner still really was able to maintain his intellect, his ability to still think things out. Didn't mean he was a threat. He certainly still was a threat, but he knew what he was doing the whole time he was doing it. Add yet another figure to my list of I can't find these figures in local stores. Though as a Canadian collector, my list of places I can go to is very small. I have a GameStop. GameStops tend to not have a whole lot in their stores. They have a whole lot more, it seems, online. Then I've got my Walmarts that have next to nothing. And then Toys R Us. We could have always said as a Canadian, we could brag that we had Toys R Us stores when maybe the U.S. Toys R Us's were shut down. I don't even know if Toys R Us are back in the U.S. I can tell you, though, Canadian Toys R Us stores are now starting to close down. Bad news for us. Even though, I have 4 stores somewhat in my area. 2 of those 4 have closed. I think 1 store is currently in the process of closing. And then the one that still remains open has next to nothing. Nothing at all when it comes to current stuff. So, at least I can fall back to my go-to, it seems, as of late, the Facebook selling groups. And luckily, again, Popeye the Toy Man seems to be the guy I'm always going now to for a lot of my DC Multiverse figures. He did have at least the Red Lantern Guy Gardner, one that I did want to add to my current collection, and he was selling for a decent price. So this is what brought us to the dance right now. Guy Gardner, though, I can understand why some would look at this as simply just a repaint. And, it is. I mean, we're not going to dodge around the truth, the fact that this figure is just a variant repaint of the original Guy Gardner. The thing I like, though, at least about this, is that with these figures having now, in this case, swappable hairs, even though surprisingly enough, the Red Lantern Guy Gardner doesn't have it, but with swappable hairs and swappable faces, even though, again, from the top to the bottom, they are using the same mold, there's enough at least you can change to the figure that they look different from one another. I'm just looking now at the side of Guy Gardner's face. I don't think his face is completely on there. I do like the color scheme. I think the colors work quite well. And that he also comes included with the Red Lantern, which is using, again, the same mold as the Green Lantern Guy Gardner, though the plastic seems a little harder on that lantern instead. Yeah, all in all, I'm happy that I finally had the chance to add this one to my collection. If you guys did want to check out what Popeye the Toy Man has currently now for his listings, I can provide the link down below in the video description. What do you guys think of Red Lantern Guy Gardner? Overlooking, obviously, that this guy's just a repaint, do you think at least it's a repaint that's justifying picking him up, adding him to your collection? Or do you just think it's a pass? If you guys also did enjoy this video, you can do it a solid and throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. Hit that subscribe, turn on that bell so you can get the reminders when new videos pop up. And if you guys certainly did want to check out more from DC Multiverse popping up at the very end of this video, plug, shameless, shameless, shameless. There'll be as well a playlist. Feel free to give that a watch. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.